6th. Hawthorn have won 5, Essendon have won 13. If Essendon win this afternoon, they will equal the VFL record of Carlton. The two teams have met 5 times in a final. It's the 3rd time they've met in the grand final, 3 years in succession, and that's the first time that has happened in VFL history since the Page system of finals was introduced in 1931. The Hawthorn banner goes up. Side is going to be Bob, but they did name 5 players on the bench. Looking through the rooms there,
Alan Ezard was there.
Ezard was warming up.
There he is in the back. There he is with Kevin Sheedy now.
Who do you think will be on the bench?
I think they'll play Hurd, so I'm inclined to think that Ezard and Hurd will make up the 20 players.
Well, that room in there, Pete, would be unbelievable to be in that room getting ready to go onto the ground. Hawthorn are out there, of course.
The hardest part, job that Sheedy would have had all year would have been telling which 3 players that they were not going to be there.
That's right, that'll be because they're so strong and they've been such versatile side. But that feeling they're going through now, you could just imagine, Pete and Bob, the adrenaline running through the veins of those players, and you can see them going through the pre-match exercises there, and by golly, they're raring to go, aren't they?
Yes, Lou, if you needed motivation at this stage of the game, then there must be something wrong with you, because
that's right.
Both sides must be so G'd up at the moment. I don't think that anything the coach said would, really matter in many respects. I think the players would be above the moon, so to speak.
I think the coach's job, Peter, is to bring them back to earth again, to say, OK, just take your time and calm down and don't do anything rash when you get onto the ground, because once the ball is bounced, it's no different to an ordinary game, but it's the build-up before the game that gets these tempers a bit frayed. And I think we could see a pretty rugged game for the first 10 or 15 minutes.
Yes, and a few mistakes usually occur in the first 10 minutes of the grand final. Bob Skilton, the selection of David O'Halloran for Hawthorn was, to my way of thinking, amazing. He hasn't played a senior game this year. What would be the thought in the Hawthorn match committee mind bringing O'Halloran into the side?
I think it would have been a case of that they believed in the semi-final that they lacked a bit of aggression, and David O'Halloran does have aggression. He has plenty of courage, and on the side after a performance like that, well, it's just bad luck, but you can only pick 20 players.
Well, I spoke to Don Scott just before we went on air, and Don Scott, the former champion of Hawthorn, suggested that Chris Mew may play at centre-half forward for Hawthorn. It'll be interesting to see if he does.
The best full-back in the competition at half forward?
No, I wouldn't, sir. I'd leave him where he is.
Here come the Essendon side now. Like Hawthorn, taking the field for the 3rd year in succession in a VFL grand final.
Well, Ezard's there, Bob. We've got to pick up the other player that makes up the 20. It'd be interesting to see whether it's Donnell or I think you're inclined to think it'll be her.
I am inclined to think that, Lou, but who would know?
Well, we'll just try and pick
Carey.
Carey is there, yes.
Well, Carey,
they might all be there at this stage, who knows?
Knowing Kevin Sheedy will have the 21 players out there. I should imagine he'd do that. And it'll be interesting to see who picks up DP at a minute ago. It possibly would be Brian Wood, because he'd be the most vigorous.
He did a pretty good job against him in the semi-final, right. So I'd be inclined to think that Wood will be the player.
Well, I suppose, Peter and Bob, that the Bombers would be the hottest favourites in a grand final we've known for many, many years.
Possibly since Richmond in '74.
That's right. And, of course, as Bob explained before, a grand final match is different to any other game, and we know the makeup of the Hawthorn football side. They'll go down fighting if they do lose this match, and it wouldn't be surprised if they did win it.
All right, a number of players out there that we certainly will be keeping our eyes on this afternoon. We'll get some comments from you, Bob Skilton.